I've been looking forward to this. And I got a presentation. As I share the presentation, I don't think you can see me, which is probably good. So you guys have probably seen me enough. But we all good, Jerry? You still monkeying around? Okay. So this one's on survival groups. That's kind of what the reason I started PrepperNet many, many years ago was. The reason was survival groups. It really was. But we're going to go. So I introduced myself. You guys may know me. This is my beautiful family. This is some of the stats on me, or my bio, I guess. I was former Air Force. I was the webmaster at Bank of America, Nations Bank. I created a company called Broadband Avenue, had 5 data centers. We sold that in 2003. I'm from the mountains of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm from I'm in a holler of a holler for where Spruce Pine is. It is famous. Spruce Pine is very famous. One person on 60 Minutes said it was one of the most important towns in the world. And the reason is, it's not because all the sand from the masters comes from the mines there. That's not the reason, but that's a pretty good reason. The reason is because every chip in the world for a computer starts with the minerals in Spruce Pine. So I'm a survival instructor, NRA. I'm a ham general. You know, I was owner of Sun Ovens International. No longer doing anything with them. I'm a CEO of Garvin Academy. I'm the founder of PrepperNet. And whatever. That's my myself, my daughter, my son, and my 2 boys. One son was living in Kansas City, the one with the robe from Chapel Hill, and the other one that it's also a Chapel Hill grad was in D.C. working for military contractors. It's so funny. The 2 on the right, they both had such secret jobs, they couldn't even tell each other what they were doing. They since have moved back. She is pregnant, and he is still working. So I do want a brief history about PrepperNet. We were founded April 17th, 2014, and it was because I needed some more people in my survival group. And so I created a meetup. 5 people came, and they were the weirdest people I've ever met in my entire life. One was a hippie. She had hair down almost to her knees behind her with a flower dress on. One guy came with camo pants and a bug out bag on his shoulders. Another gentleman came in with like a stack of books, like he was the biggest nerd in the world. And I mean, and come to find out, I was the weird one. I was a white collar walking in there with my tie on, and these people were the salt of the earth. And I didn't know better, to be honest with you. So they're all my friends. One, Dave Wolf, I'm not sure if you've been around PrepperNet a while. Dave was one of my, all 5 of them became city leaders as well. It's somewhere within PrepperNet, all 5 of them. Dave Wolf was my city leader for Mooresville. We were supposed to go on a show called Hunt It together, and some things happened, and he has since passed away. So he passed away because he was having dizzy spells. He didn't know that they were like small strokes, and it's kind of sad. Tore me up for a while. But so we've been around for 10 years. We have in meetups alone, we have 94,000 people in our meetups. We have over 10,000 people on our PrepperNet.net site. And then we are in 114 cities in the United States, and we're in 5 countries. We're in Canada, England, Australia, Singapore, and somewhere else, wherever that, yeah. So, United States. Oh, yeah, U.S. Not sure if you guys know, but I have written a few books, but but the one I wanted to point out is one in November 24. I'm actually doing one. It's going to be called like the Complete Guide to Survival Groups. I've been working with survival groups for about 7 years now. And then I got one coming after that I've already started writing. So the book in November, I wrote it, I sent it to my editor, and now he's going through it, which means he'll send it back to me and tell me I write like a third grader, but then I'll correct everything I can. And then we'll get down to a book finally, hopefully in November. And then I've already started one called Privacy is Freedom. And I have a podcast. It's mediocre at best. It's called Prepping Academy. I haven't produced one in a while. I've been so busy with some other stuff. I've been busy. I'm getting ready to create another podcast. I know. This is called Privacy and Freedom Podcast. I am tired of Google, Microsoft, and Apple knowing every single thing I do, recording it, and it being recorded in an NS data center. Everything we do, every phone call, every email, and so I am fighting that, and that's a battle I'm picking, I guess. I do have a live webinar that comes up about every few months. If you want to learn more about how to be private, how to kind of disappear, and but that's it. We have PrepperNet members across the United States. Each one of these P's, the logos, represents a zip code. That one P could represent 15 or 20 people. On PrepperNet.com, I've had over 120,000 people register saying they want to be on our email list. And that's where none of these come from actually meetups, because I don't have that information from meetups. But if you've ever gone to PrepperNet.com in the past and filled out, signed up to be on our mailing list, I asked you for a zip, and this is what it looks like when you put all the zips with a logo. Cities, we got that one in San Antonio. Jerry is, I had to discipline him, and that's why I'm doing this now. I'm just kidding. We love Jerry. Jerry, you need to pack that camper up and bring up more people from Texas for bug out camp. So, but you can see we're heavily. When I first started this, it was called the Carolina Prepper Network because it was in North Carolina, and then after about 8 cities, we went to South Carolina, so we called it the Carolinas Prepper Network. And then it just kind of kept growing, so we had to change the name. And some people love or some people hate the name, but it is what it is. So I do want to tell you this. I have an advisory board, and I talked to these guys. They've kind of, in the beginning stages, they helped me more so than they do now, but I still talk to these people all the time. Literally, I've talked to probably 5 of these this week alone. I talked to JJS, which is of Amron. I talked to Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, Glenn Tate, Shelby, and Mike Shelby all this week. Jonathan Hollerman wanted a great book, The Survival Theory, one of the best books I've ever read when it comes to survival. His second book, not so much. It just talks about death. And I did a forward of that book, and it's terrible. I would never, that's a one-time read kind of thing. Scott Hunt, which is right down the road, good friend, Charlie Hogwood. So all these people kind of helped me put this together. And I talked to Ryan Mitchell this week as well. He went to the Antarctic for like 2 weeks, which was amazing. So anyway, Franklin Horton, you guys have probably heard of some of these people. So I don't do just blindly. I do have a group of people that kind of help me. So first thing I want to start out with are 4 things you should be doing right now. One is you should get in a group or create a group. That should be the number 1 thing you should be doing. Number 2 is get out of the system. When I say get out of the system, get out of the system. If you live in a $700,000 house, sell it and buy a $300,000 house, have no mortgage. Get out of debt where you owe no one money and get out of the system. And this is my advice, okay? Number 3 is acquire skills and knowledge. That's why you're here today, hopefully. You got to have skills and knowledge. And number 4 is buy food. Always buy food. So when I interviewed Selko, which is a Bosnian survivor, his biggest thing was, they had lighters and they had ammo, they found guns, all this stuff. The number 1 thing was food. It was food. He said his number one wish that he would have spent 99% of his time acquiring food and learning how to hide it and preserve it. If he would have known what he was getting ready to go through, the answer was food. So with that, let's start survival groups. So how many years? I want to tell you, I started my survival group. I'm a Y2K guy. I was the webmaster at Bank of America. And we had everything fixed. It was July before the Y2K issue was supposed to come up. And people will look back and go, well, Y2K wasn't that big of a problem. It was a huge problem, but the country and the world, for the first time ever, spent billions and billions, I mean, tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars to get through this issue. It was a huge problem. If the banking system, if we would have gone through the Y2K and not spent all the money we did and did all the testing and everything, all the machines would have stopped. Literally would have stopped. We tested that, and so it was a huge issue. And that's when I became a prepper. I was at a restaurant called Bowdean's Restaurant here in Charlotte. It was the week of Thanksgiving. I'm eating with my best friend. He was the CTO of one of the largest power companies. It's a huge power company, but it's called Duke Energy. And he's the CTO of Duke Energy. And this is the week before Thanksgiving. And we were talking, and he goes, man, I'm having problems. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we're having to hire people from overseas, and some of them can't even speak English, so we have to get an interpreter as well just to look at our code. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, we're being fined $34,000 a day at that time by the government because they hadn't passed tests. And we're a month and a couple of weeks from Y2K, and I knew it was a problem at the bank, but we overcame it. And I'm like, dude, you have like 4 nuclear power plants within like 70 miles of me, and you guys aren't ready. That's when I became a prepper. And my wife and I got ready through Christmas and everything. So we got baby formula, we got wipes, we stored some water, we got chips, we got salsa. Yeah, I know. And I bought almost a $400 water filter, a Catadine water filter, because I didn't know. And I bought a bunch of paper towels, and we were going to survive the end of the world with that. I just didn't know. And so from that, I'm like, because it scared me when my friend, he was scared. When you see your friend scared and he's in charge of the nuclear plants, there's an issue. So I've been doing this for a while, and that's how I got into prepping. And I will tell you this, what I did immediately is after Y2K passed, no one died, and we made it through. That summer, I contacted 7 of my best friends. These were guys I went to church with, professionals I would eat lunch with downtown Charlotte all the time. And we went out to eat lunch, and I said, guys, we need to have a pool party. I want to invite everyone's family over, and let's have a pool party. And everybody's like, yeah. So we did that. At the pool party, it wasn't my house, it was a friend's house. We went down in the pool room, the guys, and I said, guys, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to create something. And I told them the story about the Duke Energy, and they were kind of mad that I didn't kind of share that with them beforehand. And actually, the Duke Energy guy was there at the meeting, and I shared this information. They're like, oh my gosh. I said, guys, I don't know what we're going to create, but we're going to create some kind of group support system. And here's the thing. If you're not in it, you're going to be out. If you're not in this group, because they're going to spend a lot of time in training, buying things. We're going to get land. We're going to do everything we can to be safe. And if you're not in, you're out, meaning it's the friendships. And we'd had this meeting, and all the guys kind of looking at me kind of shocked, like, are you kidding? And they knew I was serious. Needless to say, they were all in. And I said, well, let's have a meeting and introduce this to the wives. And the wives were all in. Don't ever do that. That was the worst, dumbest idea I've ever had in my life. Try to get professional, white-collar people making $250,000 a year to create a survival group. It was awful. We're still together. The original 7, we're all still together. Most of it, I think, is called we go to church together. Our families do everything together. But that's how I started what a survival group is. So being in a survival group is your most important prep. Absolutely nothing else compares. You could be the best ham radio operator in the world. It still does not compare. You could be a Navy SEAL with 40 years of experience, but being in a survival group is your most important prep. And I'm going to prove it to you. So at least I'm going to try. So would you rather have above average skill, like Navy SEAL level, or would you like to be in a group of Navy SEALs? I think everyone would say a group of Navy SEALs. Would you like to have personally 5 years of food or in a group of Navy SEALs? Navy SEALs. You want to be in a group of people because you got to have a group. Would you have 100 guns? I know you guys in Texas are going to really struggle with this one. 100 guns with 20,000 rounds of ammo for each gun, or in a group of Navy SEALs. Lone wolves don't survive. And the idea is you've got to be in group with other people because you can't pull a bullet out of your leg. It just doesn't happen, not even on TV anymore. So a survival group is a group of like-minded individuals that pledge to assist each other in a time of crisis. The idea is many hands make light work. I want you to notice something, though. Nowhere in here does it say that you have to like them all. We always think that, let's get people we like. Well, you don't really. There's people in my group I don't like, but I trust them 100%. So don't think that you have to just go get friends. You get skilled people that you like-minded. We want to survive, and maybe have maybe some other common beliefs. Because in our group we went through and like if someone steals something, do you just shoot them in the head? I mean, so we had to come to a consensus of how we were going to make all our rules. So anyway, you don't have to like everyone. You maybe get along, but it's the like-minded with one goal. So a lot of people think a survival group looks like this. This is what Texas looks like, right? Well, it actually in reality looks more like this. We have people in wheelchairs, we have mixed families, we have babies, we have someone with a walker, we have a Down syndrome kid. We have a mixed bag in our group. This isn't my group, by the way. This is like the most diverse photo I could find on the internet, but we do, and we just have, it's crazy mixed, okay? And that's good. Everyone's got skills, or they should have. So the problem I had with my group, I had people that were highly interested. You don't want highly interested people. Highly interested people come to the meetups every single month, and they listen and they listen and they listen. They go home and they do nothing about it. They don't learn. They don't practice. But highly motivated people will get the skills, practice the skills, and it's almost like they live it. There's a huge difference than highly interested. I can go on the street and say, hey, next disaster, would you like to be, safe no matter what? Yeah, they're all safe, but they won't do any action. So it's the people that do the actions that are highly motivated. And you can see that in people. You're looking around right now going, yep, he's highly interested. I would never have him. So, but that you see that pretty quickly. So why do you need a group? Strength in numbers, skills you need that you don't have. I'm not a doctor. I don't grow food. I don't grow food. On my land now, I can't even grow food. Where I live right now, which is I'm as close as a city as you can, but in the country. But there's not my entire acreage is covered in trees. So I can't even grow a tomato. I have a sun oven. I have like 5 sun ovens. I can't even use the sun oven in my yard. The only way I can use a sun oven is I go to the road, which is like a quarter mile. I set my sun oven up by the side of the road, and it cooks food. And my neighbors now know what I'm not trying to, talk to aliens. And I'm cooking food, And that's the only place on my entire lot I can even use the son of them. And you got loved ones and friends that you kind of like to be around. I mean, there's also loved ones that you don't want to be around, and there's a process for that. So here's a saying that I say all the time. Does anyone know the answer to the rest of this sentence?
You're out.
No.
Get in one. Get in one.
If you're not in a group, you die. And this is true. If you listen to my interview with Selko is the Bosnian survivor. He said that that people that were in groups and families absolutely did way better than other people. He said that people wouldn't attack groups. People were respectful of groups, and he goes, groups, when people came together, he said they weren't. He said they weren't gangs. There were gangs, but he said the gangs wouldn't even mess with the group of people. And he said the larger group of people, the better it was. So I've interviewed him three times. If y'all want to listen to that. So a good friend of mine, Charlie Hogwood, wrote this book called Survival Group Handbook. It's a mediocre book. I tell Charlie this, but he has in there, it says that the journey of a relationships, seeking out people whom you trust to live and trust your daughter, your family. You better know who they are, because as your own protecting out, walking the perimeter of your camp, your house, or whatever, your daughter and wife's back in the camp. Matter of fact, we made one of the stupidest rules ever. When we first started this, we said no single people. And we're like, yeah, no single people. We don't want them to take our wives and daughters. And we're like, and then after about a year, we're like, gosh, that's about the dumbest rule ever. Because married people cheat on their wives. And so we you do this stuff blindly and you learn. But Charlie, it's a good basic handbook. My book's going to be like 10 times better, guaranteed. So this is like, yeah, I know. But getting in groups like a courtship, okay? So where do you find preppers? Gun ranges? No. The funniest is if you think ham people, if you go to a local Aries, you think, oh, they have to be prepared. I've yet to find one that is actually prepper mindset, preparedness mindset. Conferences, if you come to prepper camp, you can meet people. You can, Craigslist is probably a great place to say, hey, I'm building a survival group, right? No, don't do that. Meetups, possibly you can meet people like-minded. That's why I created PrepperNet 2014, so I can meet other people, because we wanted to expand our group. That's the reason I started in Charlotte. And I found three more people since then that are now in my group. So PrepperNet provides a venue for preppers to meet other preppers in the local area and hopes members create a MAG or survival group. We're 90% networking, 10% training. So that's why, Jerry's like, hey, everybody meet, network, let's do some training, everybody meet. And, we at Charlotte, we actually meet in the back of a restaurant, have the whole restaurant. And our program starts at 7 and it ends around 8:30. But if you're ever in Charlotte area, if you come at 4, people are already in the room. And they'll stay until 11, the restaurant closes, because it is major networking. People bring plants, all these bushes, they bring knives, all this stuff, they trade, they talk. It's literally like a family. So group membership can change your life. It becomes your new family. So imagine my 7 friends, thank goodness they all said yes. We started doing cookouts. We started meeting, creating all these little committees so we can create all this, the rules and regulations. They're my new friends, meaning, man, I live with these people. We went camping, our activities. Some of my other friends that we just kind of stopped hanging out with them because we had so much preparedness to do. We spent a ton of money. I mean, prepping costs money, and but you must be motivated and you're upset. So you got to train your kids, you got to train your teens, you got to train everyone, and have all these plans. And it changes your life. They become your family. So again, are there people in the 7? There's some I don't like to be around, but I guess I get along with them. Yeah. So you got to know what you're looking for. Some people are looking for a militia. PrepperNet is not known for putting together militias. That's just not us. Religious group, you could create your church group. One of the most successful groups I've worked with is a group that formed from a church, a small church, and man, they're kicking it. They're well planned. They're well funded. You got to know your organizational style. You might not like the way I organized my group. Actually, the way we set up my group, just to kind of give you an idea, I don't like this. I didn't choose this, but we have 3 leaders. 2 of them are voted on every year, and the 2 can't be in the same family. And I'm the 3rd. They like made me a permanent leader. I'm like, why do you guys want to do that? And they're like, because we want you to. And so we got 2 elected leaders and myself. That's how we run it. And being a good leader, I talk to the other 2 every decision. We talk about it, we pray about it, and we make the right decision for the group. And then the group rules. I mean, you get some military, you get some Army grunts in there. I'm sorry, I was Air Force. Army grunts are a little harder on people when they break the rules than Air Force. You know, we're used to breaking the rules, especially the Marines, especially the Marines as well. You got to know what size. A lot of people, bigger numbers scare people. I like bigger numbers because I don't like to do any work. And then family and pets. And I will say this. I'm really gonna say this. Okay, so pets are not allowed on our retreat at all. And I tell people this, and it's kind of a joke. Okay, so it's kind of a joke. If you bring a pet, he needs to be in a Ziploc bag because one of our members bought a $5,000 German Shepherd. He spent $7,000 training, and I bet him, hey, your dog's not trained. He goes, my dog's trained. Can my dog come to the retreat? And I'm like, no. He goes, why? I said, because your dog he'll bark at something and could get us killed. He goes, my dog will obey me and never bark. I said, would you like to bet a steak dinner? He goes, sure. So I bet him a steak dinner. One Wednesday night, his wife called me and said, hey, I almost said his name. So-and-so is running late. Can you come over and pick my kids up and take them to church when you go? I'm like, yeah. So I go over there, and I notice his car is in the driveway, in the garage, and his garage light just is on. So I go to the kitchen window, and I bang on the side of the house as loud as I can. And all of a sudden, that dog started going, woo, 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 barking. And my friend comes out to the front door with a gun in his hand. I'm like, dude, what? He goes, man, was that you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what did you do? I said, well, your dog barked. You owe me a steak dinner. And he goes, I wasn't ready. I'm like, exactly. So that's why there are no pets. The only pets we do have, they're not pets. We do grow rabbits or raise rabbits, and that's the only animal we have on our retreat. I will tell you some things. I do things different, and you're not going to like it. But our group, we do not have a garden on our retreat. We refuse to grow food on our retreat. We refuse to have any other animal than rabbits. And we put the rabbits under trees so they can't be seen by satellites. Because when the crap hits the fan, your cows, your goats, your sheep, your chickens are all going to be tomorrow's grocery store. Everyone within 5 miles knows you have cows or goats or sheep, and you can't stop 70, 80 people coming to get their food. And so what we've done is we've eliminated that. You look at our retreat from a satellite, there's not even rows for gardens. So we are in peacetime now. We've had 24 years to store, can, anything that we want for food. Why do we have to raise or grow food for 18 months? We don't need to. And so that's the choice that we've done. And I will tell you this, I speak truth. After about 10 months, they say if the EMP hits about 9 months, 90% of Americans will die. So let's take that out to 18 months. We got more than enough food to feed everyone in our group 18 months and probably double people in our group for 18 months. After 18 months, we can go pick any house we want to live in. and some of them have gardens. And we do have seeds, and we have a lot of seeds, but we're not going to grow food on our retreat at all. We have everything canned, and we rotate them. And I can green beans. I'm a green bean canner, like you wouldn't believe. And so we have all, and we just rotate that. Anyway, so that's how we do our retreat. You can do yours different. You can have cows and, fight off 300 people to have the meat. We're not going to do that. Our meat is freeze dried or in freezers. At the retreat, we do have auxiliary power. Okay, group size, family members. Yes, you got to take some family members, believe it or not. Social groups. When you're looking for a group, don't be desperate. Don't go into the San Antonio group and say, "Hey guys, I'm looking for a group." It's going to be. You ever seen the trick where you put pepper inside of a bowl and then you take dish like Dawn and put it on your finger, and all the pepper just scatters to the edges? A little trick you show kids, kind of thing. That people can go, "What? No, Don't share too much. Don't tell them how many guns. Don't be needy. Don't ask too many questions. Don't be pushy. Be patient." And I'm going to tell you exactly how to start a group here in a second. So how many people, this was on TV, this was on Doomsday Preppers, probably in Texas. Look at that. I'm just saying, I don't know where it is. But how many people would you say would take, you would need to defend that area? Well, the experts said you need 5 people minimum to defend that area. Minimum. That is 2 friends of mine. They were the judges on Doomsday Preppers. That is Southern Prepper 1 with Dave Kobler and Scott Hunt, which is Engineer 775. There's their YouTube name. Sorry, we got all kind of code name. But they said 5 people. And Dave Kobler is the one that came up with that. And then how about this one? And Dave goes, 5 people. You need the 4 corners, and you need a control base. So 5 people. So having that in mind, you need 5 people to literally is the minimum to defend something. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So every group should start with you and a friend. Maybe you and 2 friends. I would do you and a friend. Do not, I repeat, do not get 5, 6, 7 people together and say, let's start a group. That's the worst idea, the second worst idea after my worst idea. You start with one other person, maybe 2 people. That's it. It's so much better to do one, because I'll go to Jerry and I say, Jerry, let's start a group. Jerry's like, yeah, okay. And he goes, who do we need to find? No one. Let's nail down all the rules, what the goals are, everything in our group. Let's get as much information as we can, and let's document it. And then we have the rules, and then we can go to John and say, hey, John, we've been watching you. I don't know, you don't know this, but we have a group. It's already set up, and we're interested in you joining our group. And I know right now, anyone asks you guys for a group, you're like, yeah. And then John's going, okay. So what we'd like to do is go out to eat with you and your wife and family and see how everything goes. Let's go on a camping trip. And it's almost like a courting relationship. Since Jerry and I already have all the rules, we'll go, okay, John, here are the rules that we've put together. This as a whole, we're going to stick to these unless you come up and you say something that this is absolutely needs to be changed. So John's already looking at us going, yeah, a group is asking me, and it's just 2 people. And, if you get 3 people trying to put some in a committee, it just doesn't work. Everyone has opinions. Well, Jerry and I can figure it out. We'll figure it out. Then we invite John. Now John's in. Now we got 3 people. So that's me or you and your family. You got John and Jerry. You got 3 people, right? Wrong. Well, John, some of these people are married and have kids. All of a sudden, you've got 3 people, 3 key guys. Your friend. That's 3 guys or 3 women, however you want to split that up. And now there's 14 people in your group. Some of the kids are old, some of them are young. 14 people. That's insane. A lot of people with just 3 families. So imagine this. You got brothers, sisters, parents that might want to come as well. That you like, okay, my parents can't do anything, but they need to be a part of this. There's no way I can let them just stay out there and die. So all of a sudden, with 3 people, you got 24 people. And you're going, holy moly, that's a lot of people. And I don't even like some of these people, but they still are part of your family. The ones you don't like, you just don't tell them. Okay. Um, so, so I say the minimum amount of people you need, and I base this on securing your facility, is 15. You got to have 5 people working, 5 people sleeping, and 5 people off because there's other duties to be done. So you do a 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and then you get a day off in a sense. So you just can't work all the time. If you're, this could change, but in the beginning, you need 24 hours of just watching your retreat in your group. And this could be a house outside of the city. It could be a farmer, land out, out in the ways. It could be downtown and, in an apartment building. But you need 5 people. And please do not take this the wrong way. You need 5 men. And the reason I say 5 men, because doing this 24 years, women, I've only seen 3 women ever want to put on a bulletproof vest, a helmet that weighs about, 13 pounds, a bulletproof helmet, all the gear, boots, carry an AR-15, walk around a perimeter at night. Now, that has changed. In my group alone, our head security personnel is a former Miami-Dade police officer, and her husband was a deputy in Miami-Dade. And she is running, and now she's on, but I've only seen 3 people of all the groups I've done that really want to do that. And it's okay. And if you want to do that, we'll let you. But I say 15 men. Okay, so the men, they're working 5 on or 12 hours, then there's resting, then they're doing duties around, around the retreat. So we also have 30, what I call golden ticket. So my in-law, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they're invited to my retreat. My mom and dad are not, well, my mom and dad are now passed away, but they were not invited to my retreat. They vote the wrong color. And my mom and dad were very divisive people. They were never invited to our retreat, but my mother-in-law and father-in-law are invited. So we give them what I call a golden ticket. And what that is an envelope. And we say, when the poop hits the fan, open the envelope. It has the address, coordinates, colors you should wear, the radio frequencies, everything that they need to get to our location. My wife, it's their responsibility to get there. We'll just say that. We can't, the way we're all spread out now, we used to all be within like 10 miles of each other, but now we have people in Atlanta, which is 4 hours away, and we have people in Raleigh, North Carolina. And everyone wants to know where my retreat is, and it's in Miami Beach, Florida, right on the sand. That's where it is. So it would not be in the mountains of North Carolina or Virginia. No, it's in Miami Beach. So, but these people, golden ticket, are people that aren't in your group, but they're going to show up. So for my mother-in-law and father-in-law, I had to provide an AR-15 for my father-in-law. I had to provide a handgun for both of them, and I had to provide a year's worth of freeze-dried food for them. My mother and father-in-law kind of understand me and understand their circumstances, and they just wrote me a check for it all, and and that all goes to the retreat. It doesn't go with them; it goes to the actual retreat facility. And that's our 30. We have 30 golden tickets. This number has been going up. It's because we're getting older, which our parents are getting older. in the beginning, we only started out with like 18, and now we have 30. We do not count, this is going to be interesting. The way we voted, this does not count our special needs people, our Down syndrome gentleman, because he can do work. He is a part of our team. It doesn't count anyone that can, like, even if you have a walker, or what, because cooking and bandages and helping heal people is a huge skill. And so, but this is just people that really are going to just show up, and that's it. I will also tell you this, that in our group, we voted, and as a group, and when and we're in Texas, y'all have the least amount of problems with this than other places. When you're in our group and you're 13 and your parents say, yes, my son and daughter are responsible enough, we can classify them as adults. 13-year-old, and we give them training. They might not be making big decisions, but they are classified as adults. We give them adult responsibilities, and we expect them to do, and not one of them has ever let us down. And we got that number literally from, I guess, the Bible and Jewish traditions. That's when, 400 years ago, at 13, you're an adult. It's our problem that we've made, 21 and 28-year-olds still live in our homes. That's our problem. That's not the way people were made. So let's keep going. So we have 18 couples and 2 singles now in our group, and one of the singles is a dentist. He wasn't single when he brought in, but we got rid of the single rule, by the way. So we have 38 people in our group, in our main core. That's not counting kids. And we have another single guy in our group as well. So we have 112 total people in our core group. If you add the golden ticket, we got 142 people for our retreat. And you're like, wow, that must be a massive retreat. Well, we do have 12 plus 8. We have 20,000 square feet of, actually more than that. Sorry, 24,000 square feet of actual heated square feet at our retreat. We had a 12 stall, no, excuse me, 12, 1, 2, yeah, 12. No, and 16 stall horse barn. The horses, they had heated floors on the bottom floor, and above it was like a workshop. And we made all that in the living space. So and then we have literally 2 houses. We had 24,000 square foot of heated space on our property. And our property is only 18 acres. So we have 142 members. So a couple things. This always makes people mad. We do a criminal background check on every single person. We do a financial background check on every person and a medical background check on every person. So here's how it works. I am not on the financial team. We have a CPA and another young lady in our group that is a CPA, a bookkeeper. They do the financials for everyone. So if you're in our group, every year, and I know you guys are going to hate this, but this is the way we chose to do it. Every year, you meet with our financial team, and they look at your incoming and outgoing money. And the reason that we get so much into your money is because in 2009, one of the families we brought on, new couple from my church, I see them all the time still, we brought them on. You meet with the financial team, and there's so much to buy and catch up that the financial team looks at your money, looks at how much money you're making, how much you got saved, and we all go through the Dave Ramsey, get out of the debt thing. And so he puts you on a budget and a plan, not only to get out of debt, but also to buy the things that you need to buy. And this couple was like, yeah, and they're making pretty decent money. And so they start buying their stuff. And after about 7 months into it, they stopped so we do a thing at the very, it says trust but verify. So when you buy your food, you bring it in and you submit it and we store it for you. And your guns, the ARs for adults and handguns have to be stored on the retreat, not at your house. Um, so as they're verifying all the purchases, because they budgeted out so it would not hurt this family, and this family, it was going to take them years and years to get up to speed. But they stopped buying things, and so after they missed one financial meeting, they missed another one. So the financial guy's like, "Hey, we need to meet." And he asked them, him and the young lady, he said, "What's going on? Why are you missing?" Come to find out, they, they were got into some health issues that we didn't know about. And they started using their credit cards to buy the food and guns and stuff so they could stay on the path. And we felt that they lied to us. We felt that they were dishonest, and we literally kicked them out of the group because of that. Because of the things that they were doing, if they were to come to us and said, "Hey, we're having some financial problems," we would have worked with them, but they didn't. They kind of did it on their own and tried to manage it, and then they weren't buying the things that they should be buying, and they were getting in debt. That is totally against what we wanted. And then it come to, so we felt that they were dishonest with us, and we kicked them out of the group. So now our financial team, our guy, if you don't trust this guy, he's probably 66. He retired. He was he literally did the books and stuff for a church for like 30 years. And before that, he worked for First Union Bank as like an auditor. So, I mean, he's the nerdiest guy, pocket protector. You share your finances with him. And it comes to a point, he goes, "Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, you guys are on retirement, whatever." And the reason is we just don't want people to lie or get in debt, because when you get in debt, you're a slave to someone, and we don't want anyone to be a slave in our group. Criminal background check, because we don't know what's going on, and my young daughter now can kill about everybody there. She's 19 and she's been through Krav Maga training, knows how to do a gun and everything. But when she was 4, I mean, I was very concerned. So we did criminal background checks for people, even because you find white car things that some things you can just, medicals, because the reason for medical is because I have doctors, we have a dentist, we can get all kinds of medical supplies. We have Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy as a consultant. I can call them and say, "Hey, we need to get this and this and this," and they'll tell me exactly how to get that. So we want to know the medical needs of everyone, so that when the poop hits the fan, we can take care of everyone. We also do a personality profile test. We use a thing called DISC. You can get them for free on the internet, and it's a personality profile. You can get them for free and get the results, but I'm just telling you, that's not the right way to do it. There's a site, because people just stole them and put them out there, and they cost like $5 or $10 a piece. Just pay for them, be honest. And we do personality profiles. Why do we do that? It's because when I'm working with Jerry and under pressure, the personality profile kind of will tell me how Jerry operates, what motivates Jerry, and what motivates Jerry is probably, I don't know, cigars. But John, it might be a laptop computer. I don't know. I don't know if John's a real nerd or not. I'm is the biggest, best meat provider in the world. And people go, well, don't you want eggs? Well, we have eggs. We have buckets and buckets and buckets and buckets. We probably have, well, we have 7 freeze dryers in our group. I mean, and they have chickens now. So on retreat, we have eggs. ACE team, which is kind of like it's called analysis and control element, meaning like an intel team. We've just kind of recently put that together. We have a comms team. I'm not on it, but I'm learning comms as much as I can. So in my group, this is a thing for the animals. This is how detailed we're planning a small city here to survive the end of the world and aliens and zombies. And so we got